Hi, and welcome to video number 3. In this video, you get to learn how to research your market and your competition. Now, in video number 2, you learned how to determine your skills and what you're good at. Now, we didn't really talk about, different types of markets. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about potential markets just to give you some ideas, but we're also going to talk about researching your market in a little more depth and how to find your market and how to find your competition. Because you want to make sure that if you do go into a market, there is competition, but there's not too much competition. So there's a difference there. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I briefly mentioned this a while back. You want to think of, is it online or offline? Online basically means that your clients are worldwide. Because if you think online, you think worldwide. Less money, most likely, but not always. That doesn't always mean that, you're going to make less money, especially if you get into a tightly focused niche. But let's say if you're the best of the best, of course you can charge more money. But let's assume that you're not the best of the best and you're just getting started. If that's the case, then with online consulting, you might make, $297 to $497 to $997, which is not bad. And most likely with online, you can get more clients. With offline, you got to do a little more convincing, but most likely your clientele has more money and they're not necessarily wanting to do, let's say, for example, marketing. So when you come in, marketing consultations, you can charge a little more money, a couple thousand here and there. So it's basically a give and take. You got to figure out, do you want to go online or do you want to go offline? It's okay to do both online and offline, but if you're starting out, you probably want to stick with one or two and test it out, see which one is more profitable for you, and then go with that specific one. You want to keep a balance. More competition, the better. More competition basically means that there is a buying market. If you go into a market where there's very little competition, then I want you to be aware that there might not be a lot of people purchasing or buying. So that might be an issue as well, because you don't want to educate your customers. And that's something that I did one time, and I made that big mistake by having to go through thinking, oh, there's not a lot of competition, but years later I realized that I had to educate the market. Now the market is good now, but at that time there wasn't a lot of competition. So you want to balance. You want to balance between a little bit of competition versus too much competition. Now, what I want to do now is give you a possible clientele list, like people that you could possibly do business with. Now, keep in mind that this is focused towards marketing consultations. Now, if you're doing other types of consultations, let's say website consultations, business-related consultations, this list will actually help you. But if you're doing something like skiing, you're good at skiing, or you're good at wrestling, consulting stuff like that, this clientele list probably won't do you a bit of a good. But just want to give you some ideas. Possible clients in terms of business clients and marketing business clients. You pretty much want to target people who have, a customer clientele that are paying them a lot of money. For example, plumbers. I know plumbers make a lot of money because every time they come and fix a house, it's about $200, $300 per visit. And recently, they fixed up a house, plumbers. They fixed up one of my relatives' houses. And because one of my relatives lived on a slab foundation and one of the pipes, the sewage pipes, were like leaking or something. So the plumbers had to come in and drill the foundation. It cost like $3,000. So think about the type of money that these clients are paying your business clients. So plumbers, definitely a good niche to go into. Electricians, definitely as well. think about, houses, they have to replace lots of, wiring. Old houses have bad wiring, so they replace that kind of stuff. They earn about a couple thousand and more. You got contractors, you got loan brokers specifically when they, everybody's looking for a house. Not everybody, but a lot of people are still looking for a house in this market. In fact, loan brokers, they earn about 1 to 2% origination fee. So what that is for every person that they find, they earn about, anywhere from $1,000 to a couple $1,000 per loan. So if you're a marketing consultant and you're bringing leads to a table, let's say 10 of those leads out of the 100 leads convert, these loan brokers are making about $10,000. So think about what kind of fees you could charge them. Dentists, they make good money. Lawyers especially, yes, definitely. You could go into niches of lawyers like, cosmetic lawyers, things like that. Litigators, trial lawyers, attorney of law and criminal lawyers, real estate lawyers, specific niches. Roof companies make really good money. Bathroom remodelers, realtors, definitely. Because realtors, like I talked about earlier, most of them take about a 6% cut, especially the listing agent. So if you have, a listing agent and realtor, they get 6%. They cut that. So each realtor is bringing to the table, bringing home about a couple $1,000. Chiropractors, mechanics, car mechanics definitely make good money just because cars are always going to be breaking down. They're going to have a consistent amount of money. I consulted a mechanic company, car mechanic, and, at that time they weren't doing as well, but now they're just so packed that even when I go there, they're having to book me, appointment and stuff like that. So they're making good money with car mechanics. Counselors, different types of counselors, psychological counselors, they make really good money. Landscapers do as well. Window repair replacements, they definitely make good money. I can tell you that because each window, especially the new energy efficient windows, they're earning about $300 per window. So imagine if you get a client over, one client could pull in, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. House repair types, moving companies, carpenters, and more. So that's just a brief list of people that you can potentially go after in terms of business consultations, marketing consultations, or anything like that. Now, what are people buying? So this part of this video is going to help you figure out what kind of services you want to provide, because you already know what you're good at. So you want to figure out what kind of services you want to provide. Now, one good way of figuring out what people are buying is by going to Amazon.com books. I like books because books is a great way to figure out, especially do-it-yourself books. But books in general, books, audiobooks can help you figure out, is there a big buyer's market out there for that specific niche? Now, of course, you're doing consulting work, but think of the books like they're sort of like consultants. So they're consulting these people, but of course you're consulting the businesses. Therefore, the businesses are, helping these people. So think of books like a way to figure out if there's a buyer's market. Barnes & Noble's books is also good. Barnes & Noble's, if you don't know, it's similar to Amazon.com, but it's basically a bookstore. Apple Books, you could go to the iTunes store, Apple store, figure out what kind of things people are buying. And you want to ask yourself, are there a lot of books being bought on that specific subject matter? So, for example, if I was running a marketing company or a marketing consulting company, and I was specifically targeting, let's say, plumbers, and I want to consult. I want to be the marketing consultant of plumbers in a specific area. You could do research on, plumbing, things like that. Now, there are two views, two different perspectives. You could study the plumbing and different types of plumbing to understand, what kind of needs they have. But primarily for yourself, if you're creating, a list of services, you can do research on, is this marketing consultant service going to really work? Or is this skiing consultant service going to work? So you could see it in two different lights. Okay, so right now I'm located at Amazon.com, and what I want to do is basically do some research. So I'm going to go look in their book department, and let's say, for example, that I want to do some sort of consulting in the market of, let's just do marketing consultant for now, consultants. Now, the good thing about Amazon is it lists what it sells the most from the top to the bottom. So as you can see here, guerrilla marketing for consultants, getting clients, and so forth. Now, another thing you can do with Amazon is if you type in the word consultants, you can kind of get a good idea of what kind of consulting gigs and consulting subject matters are out there. So if I put in consult, it also gives me different services and things like that are provided by consulting. And another good thing is if you want to do some research, let's say for your client, then you can say like plumbing. What kind of plumbing category? What is selling from top to bottom? So what is the highest demanded things from top to bottom? So Amazon is a good tool to use. Barnes and Noble's is barnesandnoble.com. You can do the same thing here as well, just to do some research, just see if there's a buying market out there. And study their customers, like I said. If you're going after a plumbing business owner or a realtor or electrician or a specific type of plumber or a specific type of lawyer, then study their customers. And when I say their customers, I'm talking about, let's say, for example, you're consulting a business owner, and then, the business owner's customers. So study their customers. How urgent are their needs? How much are they willing to pay to fix their problems? Like I gave you the example of the plumbers. Plumbers, their customers obviously have urgent needs. I mean, think about it. If your sewage pipeline just broke, then your house is going to smell like sewage. So definitely you're urgent. You're very urgent needs. You're willing to pay good money to get it fixed. Otherwise your house is going to really smell. So, okay. So right now what I'm going to do is basically spy on the clients of your business clients. And to do that, I want you to go to google.com and type in quantcast.com. So this is what quantcast.com looks like. Basically, this site is a research tool. It's free, and it allows you to find information more about the audiences of a specific niche. So for example, if I want to type in plumbing or plumber, I'll type in plumber. And you'll notice that Quantcast gives you data about these sites. And then from these sites, you can, if you go down to about the bottom area, it'll show you a little bit about the client. Each client, 57% are male, 43% are female. The majority are 35 to 50 years old, or some are 18 to 34. Caucasian seems to be a mixture. No kids. It basically gives you an idea of what kind of person the client is. And being that most of the clients are about 35 to 50, probably means that they have good money, or at least they're at least stable income. And you can see how much they earn and things like that. So this will give you a good, not exactly exact data, but it'll give you a good impression of what kind of clients your client has. So if your client is a high earner, like it has a job, and their clients, are able to pay them, good money, then most likely that means that when you get into that niche, then they're going to be able to have that budget to afford your consulting services. Now, if you go to QuantCast and you go do research on a specific niche, and you come out to find that all of the people viewing that niche are like teenagers and younger than 18, you might not want to go after that niche because you know that they're probably not going to have money, or they would have to convince their parents to buy, the consulting services and things like that for them to improve. So this is just a good tool to use for that purpose. So think about that. Who are your customers and who are their customers and what are their needs? Are they willing to pay a good amount of money? Because you want to focus on clientele that is actually doing well, making money, and willing to pay you good money to do consulting or service-based projects and things like that to improve their sales or to improve themselves. Now let's talk about the competition analysis. Now, when you figure out who your competition is, there are different ways to go about this. If you're going online, you can go online. You can pretty much use the same method online or offline. You can use keyword tools like Keyword Spy and look at their pay-per-click ads. So let's say, for example, that I am running a video marketing consulting business. So I can go online, go to Google, type in, video marketing consulting or marketing consulting and see what kind of pay-per-click ads come about, or go to Keyword Spy and see how much competition you have. You can use other tools like Market Samurai. I'm not using that in this video series just because I want to keep everything free. But personally, I use Market Samurai. I think it costs about $97 at the time when I purchased it. But it tells you a lot about your market and your competition analysis. Now, in terms of offline, you can also use keyword tools. You can also find pay-per-click ads. But you can also look at newspapers, niche magazines, niche newsletters, and so forth. Now, while you can use all the fancy tools like Market Samurai and other keyword tools to find your competition, I'm going to show you a simple way to research your competition. Now, if you want to dig deeper, you're going to have to use the keyword tools. But this will help you get an idea of what your competition is selling and get an idea of what you can sell as well. Now, this is a two-step process. The first thing to do is, of course, to go to Google. Now, when you're in Google, the first thing I want you to do is there's two keywords or two Google, what we call Google operators. If you put this into Google, for example, and all in title, what we're basically searching are websites that contain the keywords video consulting or video marketing consulting. Let's say video consulting. So this shows us online video consulting, network video consulting, streaming video consulting, video production, digital, and so forth. Now, I'm going to change this to online video consulting, because everybody wants to know how to get their videos on YouTube, and how to get their videos how to use video marketing to market their products and things like that. So as you can see, when I put online video consulting, I see a whole lot of different types of online video consulting. So what you could do is you could go through here and just take a look at what people are offering. So obviously we can see that this site provides video consultations for business owners, marketing professionals, and so forth. So basically what I want you to do is just browse it, look through it, see what kind of stuff they're providing. This site here, online video consulting, online video strategy, online video consulting. So you could go here and just get some ideas. Once you have figured out one or two sites that you feel like are very close to you, let's say for example the Viral Pulse, or let's say the, let's see here, vidhost.co.nz, because this was actually an online video consulting, it looks like an online video consulting firm. So let's say that once you have figured out websites that are closer to you, because not everyone is going to fit something that's similar to you, but once you've found that, the next step is to find the related sites. Now, if you put related : and I'll do that in just a minute. If I go back to Google, I'll open a new tab and I type in related : basically after this you want to type in the web address. So in this case we have www.vidhost.co.nz, and we're going to put that here. Now it doesn't really show us anything, so we're going to try this over and over again until we see a bunch of results. So I could try this one. So I'm going to try the Viral Pulse. Usually the ones at the top are better, or the bigger companies. So as we can see here, related, basically what Google does is it goes out and finds sites that are related to viralpulse.com. So essentially it basically picks out the competition of this site. So because this site is somewhat your competition anyways, their competition is your competition, and so forth. So as you can see, net video consulting, digital video and consulting. So you can go through here and get a good idea, and open the website, look at what they're offering. Obviously this is network security, so that could be a little different consulting, but it gives you an idea of what kind of different types of video consulting that you could brand out or branch out into. So online video advertising, security video, different types of video, and things like that. And you can do the same thing with other things, like let's say for example that you were providing purely Facebook advertising, so Facebook consulting. And you can change it around. You can do Facebook consulting, you can do Facebook consultants, and consultants with an S. And just go through and just use the same methods that I've showed you. And once you find that site, then of course do related so that you can see not just that site but other of your competition. Just look through it and get a good idea of who your competition is. You don't have to worry too much about all the statistical data, but figure out who your competition is, what they're providing, and get that idea of what you can provide as well.